20 years have passed since the world entered the age of demons, beings that roamed the air and land as they wreaked havoc. Humans were nothing but food for them. However, several people managed to mutate and awaken abilities to revolt against the demons. This act of revolution was powerful enough to inspire the creation of a new profession, demon hunting, which led to the rise of the hunters. At the Dong's Hunter Academy, students with abilities were regarded as nobles. That being said, the talentless Fang became a subject of harassment. Not only did he bear the humiliating title of the weakest in the academy, but he also suffered from constant bullying from the ability users. A lightning-infused metal bat hit him relentlessly on the face. Tian wore an arrogant look as he stood with his lackey, mocking Fang's efforts. "A bloody face, but not a broken spirit," Fang retorted, saying that having an ability doesn't make him that great. But the bully, drunk on his own power, desired only to trample on the weak to boost his fragile ego. To his surprise, a gust of wind tossed everyone in the air except him. A figure of a girl emerged, asking if it was fun to bully classmates. It was Lin, standing confidently amidst a storm of wind beneath her feet. He stared at her with admiration. She was the strongest in the academy and his childhood friend. The bullies couldn't believe she would help a talentless nobody, but they were greeted by her cold eyes, which threatened to kill them if they didn't get lost. As she began to release her wind abilities, the three bullies frantically ran away. She then unchained him, and he expressed his gratitude. She was concerned that he might have to repeat a grade since he hadn't awakened any abilities yet. However, he was certain that it was impossible to repeat a grade. 5 years ago, his parents died in a demon attack, and his sister had taken care of him ever since. Feeling guilty, he planned to drop out if he couldn't awaken any abilities. Her fist slammed against the wire fence, startling him. She urged him not to give up, saying there was still hope. As she walked past him, she left him with a few words. "You'll be useless trash for the rest of your life if you can't do it." He looked at her retreating figure, thinking she was still as straightforward as when they were kids. Hearing her words, he finally wore a determined look on his face. It was nighttime, but Fang was still running to train himself. He still wanted to turn the tables, even though he was the weakest in the academy. He gritted his teeth with the thought of becoming an elite like Lin and continued to endure the harsh training in hopes of awakening his abilities. His run was put to a halt when he saw two men running away from something. It turned out that demons had been wreaking havoc once again. Amidst the chaos, a little girl found herself lost, calling for help. Behind her was a towering demon, smiling as it aimed to crush her. Fang was stunned. He recognized it as the Blade, a D-ranked demon. The demon raised its arms as the little girl screamed in terror. Despite being talentless, he gritted his teeth and courageously stepped in, pulling the girl out of danger's way. Even he thought he was crazy for helping her despite not having any abilities. The Blade smiled viciously as it charged forward, successfully piercing his back with its claw. He screamed in pain as the little girl looked on helplessly. But the selfless Fang still had the presence of mind to worry for her, telling her to run away. The demon lifted him up, chuckling mischievously, then threw him against a concrete wall. As he coughed up blood, the demon's hideous, terrifying face displayed a villainous smile, enraging him as he realized he was just food. The demon approached like an inevitable death. It grabbed him, slamming him to the ground with its suppressive power. His eyes weakened, reflecting his helplessness as his mind flooded with regrets. But then, his eyes regained their vigor as he steeled his nerves, determined to survive and kill Blade. The thought of killing the demon echoed in his head. His face turned red as he began to awaken his latent abilities on the verge of death. Fang was given an option: merge with the Demon Slayer. He found himself in an unknown place, confused about what was happening. A crimson hand grabbed his arm, followed by another that caressed his face, and then countless hands swarmed all over him. A demonic hand reached out, asking if he would choose to merge. As the hands grabbed him, he realized he didn't have a choice since he was about to die. Veins popped on his face as his mouth hung open. Thinking this was his only chance, he extended his finger, accepting the offer. They touched, formally concluding the contract. Swirls of crimson energy emerged as he obtained the power of the Demon Slayer. Beneath the demon's feet, Fang was undergoing a transformation. An immense eruption of demonic energy shook the city. The Blade was startled as a more vicious demon appeared before him, meeting his cold, demonic eyes. Protruding claws grew from his hands, and his feet resembled a monster's. He had transformed into something far from human. He stood surprised in his new Demon Slayer form, holding his head and complaining about a sharp pain. Baffled, he felt like he was losing consciousness. The demon knew it wouldn't get another chance and immediately attacked. The command, "Kill the enemy," reverberated through his head. The demon unleashed an attack, but he managed to catch the blade with his bare hand. He lifted the enemy, throwing it away effortlessly. The demon slammed against the wall, but Fang wasn't done. He grabbed its neck, pushed its body against the ground, and mercilessly dragged it across the floor before slamming it against another wall. The demon couldn't retaliate. Even its attempt to slash him was futile, as he was quick enough to dodge. He charged in response, landing a destructive punch to its face. It was sent flying, obliterating buildings as it slammed into them. From a distance, two onlookers couldn't believe that demons were fighting each other. Fang noticed their presence and turned to them, frightening them. The voice in his head commanded him to kill the humans who had discovered him. Determined to keep his sanity, he told them to get lost if they wanted to live. Hearing this, they immediately ran away. From behind him, the blade managed to get up. Fang paid it no mind, focusing on maintaining his humanity. The enraged demon screeched, but Fang lunged forward, unintimidated. With his fists, he tore through Blade's body, a punch so powerful it ripped him to shreds. It was then revealed that killing an enemy granted him their fighting abilities. Fang looked at his awakened state, far from the talentless person he once was. His demon slayer form gradually dispersed as he reverted to his human form. He thought that he might be captured for research if they discovered his ability, so he immediately fled, determined to keep his shape-shifting ability hidden. In the suburbs of Dong City, Fang walked through the alleys and finally reached home, greeting his sister with his roughed-up appearance. She asked why he was only coming back now, noticing that he was injured. He assured her that he was fine, thinking he was lucky to have gained a regeneration ability after fusing with the demon. She was almost teary-eyed as she told him to be careful, reminding him of how their parents met their tragic end. He continued to assure his sister, who wiped her tears and went to make dinner for him. He could only remark on how hard his sister worked. Fang took a quick bath and, while wiping his hair, looked at the bowl of ramen his sister had prepared. Delighted at the sight of his favorite food, he asked what she had for dinner. She told him she had a sandwich at work, which made him mad since she always sacrificed for him. He urged her to take better care of herself. The tear-eyed sister was speechless. Tears began falling down her cheeks once again as she expressed how much he meant to her. He put down his chopsticks, stood up, and promised to earn money through his own abilities. His eyes were full of determination, wanting to give his sister a good life. She turned to him with a smile and cheered him on, saying she believed in him. He smiled upon seeing his sister's expression. She urged him to keep eating the ramen while she went to do the chores. She headed to the sink, smiling at the thought of her younger brother being all grown up. She hoped he could graduate smoothly and become a qualified hunter. Fang looked at his phone, browsing for any gigs related to demon hunting so he could earn money. He scrolled down the list of demon bounty information and found a suitable gig not so far from his home, making him smile. He could finally use his ability to earn money. However, there was still a problem. The demon slayer was actually a parasite that could potentially take over his body. He sighed. There was no easy task in this world, after all. Lightning cracked through the sky as rain fell. Two soldiers guarded the ruins of the battlefield where a mysterious man with long gray hair was overseeing an inspection. He asked for surveillance footage, but the nearby cameras had been damaged. He ordered them to gather witness testimony so they could find the one who killed Blade. The man already had a hunch. Blade's opponent must have been another demon. The next morning, Fang was walking around the octopus demon lair for his gig. He looked around, thinking about how the place he used to work had turned into this. Lurking behind him were octopus tentacles. As he continued to walk, he was greeted by the corpses of hunters who had fallen prey to the demons. Little did he know, the octopus demons were already creeping up behind him, but it wasn't long before he perceived their dangerous aura. When he looked, he was greeted by hideous octopus demons. He looked at these C-class bounties as he prepared for the impending battle. The three demons immediately leaped, holding their weapons. They landed a devastating attack, which he was able to dodge. He noticed how his body could now move effortlessly, even in human form since his awakening. And that's not all. He could even unleash a demon aura from within. The octopus demons quickly charged forward, prompting the automatic activation of Fang's blade ability, which surprised him. He flailed his hand blade around as he thought of testing it. He slashed down one of them. The remaining two demons leaped forward to attack him, but they were mercilessly mutilated by the edge of his blade. As the demons lay defeated, he couldn't help but feel disappointed that he couldn't plunder any new abilities. Suddenly, he was alarmed by a noise. Instantly, a horde of countless octopus demons appeared all over the place. He was stunned. He had fallen into their trap. He realized these demons had used the monsters from earlier just to bait him. The endless army charged forward. Fang raised his blade and slashed them. He thought of retreating, but even his escape route was blocked. He wasted no time and immediately cut them down. However, there were still too many enemies for him to deal with alone. He was slowly exhausting himself as he continued to fight, but the determined Fang was resolved to make it out alive. He knew he couldn't keep fighting for long in his human form, so he opted to run away as the octopus demons chased after him. Suddenly, a tentacle grabbed his foot, and his run was put to a halt as they began wrapping around his legs. The D-class octopus demon emerged with its towering figure. He looked at it with fearful eyes. It was much stronger than the blade he had encountered earlier. The tentacles completely wrapped around his body, rendering him immobile. He was at the height of desperation, knowing they were going to devour him. His eyes turned red as the voice inside his head urged him to counterattack. The horde swarmed over him, prompting him to activate his demon form to break free. Now in his demon slayer form, Fang went on a merciless killing spree. The octopus was amazed that a human could transform into a demon. Meanwhile, Fang thought he never expected to fight so many lowly E-class demons just to earn money. The octopus mocked him, implying that he didn't know his own power. Fang, angered by the demon's arrogant attitude, kicked the ground and leaped to attack. Every single one of his attacks carried his sentiments and will to survive. However, it wasn't enough to bring down the octopus, as it retaliated, pushing Fang away. It prepared its tentacles and launched an attack, wrapping them all over his body. The demon was delighted that it finally got a hold of him. It threatened to destroy the double swords he was so proud of. The octopus tightened its grip and shattered his blades, alarming Fang since he couldn't use them again for a short time. It then unleashed a barrage of destructive tentacles, sending him flying. As he got up, he couldn't help but think that the octopus was far smarter than the blade. He noticed how it always opted for mid-range attacks rather than a head-on confrontation. The demon prepared to attack him once again, which the agile Fang managed to dodge. He thought that its eyes must be its weakness, seeing how soft and exposed they were. He looked at the ground, planning to throw sand in its eyes. He stood face to face with the demon, hoping for his plan to work. He then kicked sand toward the octopus, successfully executing his plan as the demon screamed in pain. For Fang, he had to use any means necessary to win. He charged forward, exploiting the opportunity. The octopus was in agonizing pain, planning to separate from its body. However, Fang immediately grabbed a spear, unwilling to let it run away. He successfully pierced its head. It played dead, planning to regain its vitality before attacking again. However, the smart Fang didn't let his guard down. He didn't buy its act and delivered the finishing blow, finally killing it. He was able to plunder its tentacle ability. As his killing intent dissipated, his human form gradually restored itself. His body was hurting all over, as his self-healing ability wasn't triggered this time. He was fatigued, but somehow happy that he was able to kill the D-rank octopus demon. In the streets, people's attention was directed at one thing: Fang carrying all the octopus demon corpses. He found himself in front of the Hunter Guild building. As he went inside, Fang was greeted by the sight of other bounty hunters. Suddenly, 2 inspectors from the Hunter Union noticed the octopus corpses behind his back. Fang looked at them, and they replied with skepticism, asking whether he really killed them or stole them from another hunter. He asked if students couldn't fight demons, to which the inspectors asked for his hunter license, but he knew the rules. Inspectors aren't authorized to look at others' licenses. The inspectors groundlessly concluded that he stole the demons and immediately attacked him, but their slow moves were no match for his speed. The crowd noticed the commotion and started paying attention. Meanwhile, an old man named Zugo smiled, thinking he was no ordinary student. The inspectors went on with their attack and charged forward. One attempted to grab his prey, but his wrist was grabbed instead, followed by a devastating punch to his face that sent him down. The other inspector attempted to attack from behind. Fang ducked, grabbed his hand, and slammed him to the ground. The crowd displayed mixed reactions, but their murmurs were silenced when Zugo stepped forward. It turned out he was the vice president of the Hunter Union. The inspectors pathetically turned to him, hoping he would take action. Fang wore a helpless face. Fortunately, Zugo scolded the inspectors instead. They tried to retaliate, but he immediately fired them. They could only cry as their foolish actions led to their unemployment. He then turned to Fang, deducing that he must have an outstanding hunter ability. Fang looked sad for a while, then revealed that he didn't have any. The crowd was surprised at this revelation, thinking that he was hiding something. The old man smiled, patting his shoulder as he said that he believed him. He escorted him away, leaving the crowd in disbelief. As he laid down the demon corpses, Officer Xiao introduced herself and received the items. He couldn't help but admire her flawless telekinetic ability. Meanwhile, Zugo teased them and said they could talk since Xiao was still single. Fang expressed his gratitude for accepting him even without an ability. The old man then revealed that they were of the same kind. He also had no abilities and had relied on constantly honing his physical body. Fang was surprised that he was able to become the vice president without any abilities. Xiao then finished the transaction and returned his bank card. He thanked her, delighted that he had been able to make so much money for the first time. The old man promised to teach him some moves next time. Meanwhile, Xiao found Fang handsome and wondered what his type was. He thought that it was nice to have the opportunity to learn from Zugo, but as he held his bank card, he was more excited to tell his sister that he had earned a lot of money. It was nighttime. Fang was crossing the street on his way home. He raised his bank card, delighted that he had earned so much. However, a newsflash caught his attention. His eyes dilated in surprise. His fight with the blade was featured on it, hailing him as the Demon Lord. He was worried that he was on the news, wondering who had uploaded it. The deputy leader of the Demon Hunter Department, Lone Wolf, was being interviewed. He began by saying that demons were never friendly creatures and advised everyone to be careful. He then declared that they aimed to hunt the Demon Lord. Amidst the crowd that was watching the news, Fang wore a serious face. Murmurs of mixed emotions regarding the appearance of the Demon Lord were heard. With this, he knew that he had to be careful not to reveal his identity. Back in the suburbs of Dong City, he finally made it home and greeted his sister. She immediately brought up the news of the demon lord and told him to be careful. He sighed. Even his sister knew about this. He told her not to pay attention to those videos, then gave her the bank card that contained his hard-earned money. He said that he had become strong enough to hunt demons for money. She was happy, guessing that he had awakened his hunter powers. She worriedly asked if he was hurt from fighting demons. He assured her that he was fine and urged her to take the money to pay off their parents' debt. He then asked about the demon who killed them. His sister looked gloomy as she said it had always been a mystery, revealing that the killer was a mysterious demon in the form of a flame. It was all she knew, leaving Fang lost in thought. He clenched his fist, determined to grow strong and take revenge. But his sister caressed his face, saying, "We don't need to take revenge yet. We just need to live peacefully together." He blushed at her gesture. The next day, Fang was frantically running through the campus grounds as he was already late. He sprinted through the hallways and finally reached his room. As he entered, he was greeted by buzzing murmurs about the popular news of the Demon Lord. He sighed. Being popular was indeed tiring. Suddenly, Lin approached him and remarked that he had changed. She added that he seemed a bit stronger than he had 2 days ago. The bullies from earlier approached them, still not having learned their lesson. Lin prepared to teach them a lesson again, but Fang stopped her, saying she must not bother herself with a lowly dog. Hearing this, Tian was enraged. He activated his ability, repelling a bowl of food, but Fang effortlessly caught it, then charged and slammed the bowl onto his face. Tian was sent to the floor, frustratedly hitting the ground with his fist. Electricity blitzed around his body as he charged while berating him, but to his surprise, Fang was able to dodge. He provocatively asked if that was all he could do, enraging the bully even more. He then gave him a gut-wrenching knee, sending him flying. The bully was in disbelief that he was now so strong. Fang stood in front of the defeated bully, unwilling to be looked down on ever again. Their classmates were both in disbelief and awe, saying that Tian deserved it. Lin knew that even if he had trained in secret, he couldn't have beaten the bully. She wondered if he had awakened some body-strengthening ability. Suddenly, a voice chimed in and urged them to stop. It was their teacher, asking them to follow him outside for the demon hunting test. The whole class was worried that they would have to face a real devil. Meanwhile, Tian was assisted by his lackey as he tried to get up, wearing a wicked expression. He threatened Fang that he would take revenge. With this, Fang realized that he needed to get rid of him when he got the chance. At the Academy Mountain, everyone was standing in front of the towering gate for a briefing. The instructor explained that the demon hunting test was part of the preparation for their graduation exam. In this test, they would be facing a Class F grass demon that would stimulate their potential. Seeing that the demons were low-ranked, everyone was thrilled. Lin asked for his opinion, to which he said that the competing students were far more dangerous than the demons. The instructor announced the opening of the test venue. As the massive gate opened, Tian and his lackeys hurriedly charged inside. The other students followed shortly. Inside the test venue, human bones and corpses could be seen. Fang remarked that grass demons are so weak that they have difficulty killing humans. Suddenly, they were alarmed. The enemies were coming. Lin found it unusual that the grass demons had already arrived. She told him to get behind her, as he couldn't fight so many of them. But to her surprise, Fang volunteered to face them. He quickly dashed around, taking down several grass demons at once. He noticed 2 more sneaking up from behind him. They charged forward at Lin, who seemed unaware. He yelled for her to watch her back and took down the demons, leaving her surprised. He continued dashing around, thinking that these grass demons were much weaker than the blade and octopus he had hunted before. Lin was surprised. "How did you get so strong in just a few days?" He dismissed her question and urged them to absorb their essences first. They began absorbing them. Suddenly, something caught Lin's attention. The students were running away from the unexpected appearance of a stronger demon. She prepared to fight, but he stopped her, noticing that it wasn't an ordinary one. A tree-looking demon emerged, wreaking havoc all over the place. He was worried it was a Class D tree demon. The tree approached them, exuding a menacing aura. Fang patted her shoulder and told her to stay away. But then, Tian and his pack emerged, saying, "Only cowards run away." He said that a true hunter must face demons, no matter what. As the 3 brainless dogs stood in front of them, Lin remarked that he must have beaten his brains out. The arrogant Tian cluelessly faced the demon, aiming to declare his strength to Lin and Fang. From a distance, their classmates were skeptical about whether Tian was indeed reliable, but since he was so confident, they believed he might have the ability to do so. He charged forward, activating his abilities. The demon effortlessly blocked his attack, smiling menacingly as it got a hold of him. It then hit him with a powerful fist, pummeling him to the ground. His lackeys stood worried as Tian angrily demanded they help him. The demon raised its foot and kicked him toward his lackeys. Fang and Lin knew this would happen. The gap in their levels was big after all. Tian was angry that he got beaten up. The 2 of them decided to step in, aiming to harvest materials for themselves. The demon noticed their presence and turned to them. Meanwhile, their classmates couldn't believe they were planning to deal with the tree demon. Lin activated her wind abilities, unleashing cutting waves of air, but the demon just laughed it off, surprising her that her abilities couldn't even scratch it. Fang knew that the only way to break its body was to find a hole in it. Lin continued fighting the rampaging demon as he assessed the situation. The demon unleashed a devastating blow that shattered the ground. Fang was in a dilemma. He couldn't use his demon form in Lin's presence. She was struggling to fight the demon, who seemed to be laughing at their helplessness. Fang grabbed her and urged them to get out. The demon hit the ground, summoning wooden spikes. These spikes eventually became a prison, separating the two of them. She could only call his name as the wooden prison enclosed, trapping Fang alone with the tree demon. Lin activated her wind ability to break the wood prison. Inside, the towering figure of the tree loomed over him. He began transforming, resolved to defeat the demon before she could break through. The tree raised its fists to attack while Fang completed his transformation. He dashed around, cutting the demon's arms with his blade. Fang managed to successfully injure the tree demon. It screeched as he looked back, but its injured arm grew back instantly, surprising him that it had a regeneration ability. He immediately charged, exploiting the opportunity to attack as it recovered. He faced the demon courageously, unleashing another attack to cut it down. The tree was enraged, slamming its hands on the ground as it summoned several wooden spikes. The protruding spikes chased him, aiming to pierce his body, but he saw an opportunity to counterattack. He fused his tentacle and blade ability, summoning a sharp, cutting tentacle. The tree demon was surprised. His tentacle blade pierced through its body. He then pulled it out, ripping off the demon's body. With this, he finally killed the tree. He obtained both its thorn and accelerated regeneration skills. As he reverted to his human form, he noticed the tree demon's essence. As he knelt and reached for it, he was surprised by the wood prison suddenly breaking. Lin entered the scene and assured him she would save him, only to see that he had already killed the tree. He revealed that he had awakened a body-strengthening ability that helped him defeat it. She was in disbelief that he had become so strong in just a few days, but he said it was not really impressive when compared to high-rank awakeners. She agreed and urged them to leave the forest first. In front of the class, the instructor praised Lin and Fang for defeating the demon, but their classmates were doubtful that Fang was of any help. Meanwhile, Tian was infuriated that he wasn't able to kill it. Suddenly, it was revealed that someone was looking for him. He had a bad feeling about it, wondering who it might be. Outside, the deputy leader of the demon hunting union was waiting. He looked at Fang, who had just arrived. Seeing his familiar face, he grew anxious that his secret might have been leaked. He clenched his fist, thinking that it would be fine if he stayed in his human form. He smiled and asked why he was looking for him, to which the deputy leader revealed that there was a teenager who saved a little girl from the demon blade. He then said that they were able to trace him. Fang laughed, saying that saving the girl was no big deal, but then the deputy leader brought up the topic of the demon lord and the blade, making him grow even more anxious. Fang murmured that it was the blade demon. He then played dumb, saying he also watched it on the TV news. From behind, Lin wondered how Fang got involved with people from the demon hunting union. The deputy leader then asked him to narrate what happened, surprising him. He confirmed that he had indeed met the demon, saying that it came after he saved the girl. The deputy leader lit his cigarette and asked where it went after, to which he said that it disappeared. However, the deputy leader saw no traces of the demon lord upon checking the cameras. He then concluded that the demon lord had merged with him instead of leaving the scene. Fang was surprised. A massive skeletal hand was summoned over him, gripping him tightly and making him unable to break free. Lin worriedly called for Fang, but she was stopped by another summoned skeletal hand. The deputy leader menacingly said that no one was authorized to interfere with the officials of the demon hunting union. She couldn't retaliate because of the huge gap in strength. He desperately said that he's not the demon lord, but the deputy leader was skeptical. He then said that if he really wanted to prove his innocence, he must accept the test obediently. He placed his hand before Fang as a blue aura leaked out. Given his situation, Fang was so anxious that he might get taken away for human research. The blue aura made contact with him, surprising the deputy leader, as the result was not what he had predicted. He was dumbfounded that this kid didn't have a trace of demonic energy. He then revealed that he had misjudged him, deactivating his ability and letting him go. Lin berated the deputy leader for bullying them, but Fang stopped her. Before he left, the man said he'll remember him and see him next time. He was lucky that his demon slayer form wasn't leaked. Lin asked if he was all right, to which he assured her. She sighed and said there were so many things to worry about, then invited Fang to dinner out of nowhere. It was nighttime. Fang and Lin were walking down the busy streets of Dong City. He threw a glance at her, admiring her beauty. On the other hand, Lin was speechless. She reached for his hands and suggested they hold hands. They both blushed upon touching each other's hand. He smiled and looked at her, asking if they were on a date. As they walked while holding hands, they met Xiao from the Hunter Union. Fang found himself in an awkward situation, being questioned by the girls. Xiao thought he was single and planned to invite him to dinner. He introduced Lin as his classmate and childhood friend. She sighed as she realized that her chances of getting close to him were almost zero. He then asked her to join them for dinner, to which she refused and said she had to go home. She then reminded him to see Vice President Zugo for combat training. He smiled and bade her farewell, relieved that she didn't misunderstand anything. They watched as she walked away. Lin then told him that he seemed like he didn't want her to leave. He replied that there was no way, since they still needed to have dinner. He grabbed her hand and suggested they try the tasty barbecue restaurant nearby. However, she said she was a little tired. He then proposed to carry her, only to find the next situation embarrassing. Lin was riding on his shoulders, making him blush. He told her that he only proposed to carry her, not give her a ride. She winked, saying it was the same thing anyway. They ignored the strangers as she began recalling their childhood memories. He closed his eyes and did the same. When they were kids, Fang used to carry her on his shoulders. He would trip on a banana peel, causing them to collapse. Lin would cry, and he would appease her by giving her chocolate. She would thank him as she patted his head. He smiled as he reminisced about those memories. He then happily sped up the pace, to which she asked him to slow down. At the barbecue restaurant, Fang let out a delighted burp after he was stuffed. Meanwhile, Lin seemed to be sulking that he didn't talk to her at all and just focused on eating. They then overheard a conversation about a charred female body on a nearby street. It was said that the body was hung on a pole, with the assailant remaining unknown. He felt strange, since his parents were also burned to death. Lin suggested that they go take a look. They stood up and prepared to leave. Outside, the two of them found themselves behind a crowd. They were making a fuss over the burned corpse of a woman hanging on a pole. Fang guessed that the murderer did all this to deliberately create panic. But then, something caught Lin's attention. The pattern on the corpse's forehead. Such an ominous pattern was revealed to be the symbol of the Devil's Church. Fang recognized that the Devil's Church was a secretive organization of demons. She added that they were behind the majority of civilian deaths and always left behind an eye pattern at the scene after each operation. He couldn't help but notice the connecting clues. From behind the flock of crowds, a mysterious hooded man with the same eye pattern on his forehead was looking at them. He let go of the bag he was holding. Fang intuitively turned back, only to see a burning bag. The flames from the bag grew, inciting panic among the crowd. Everyone started running away as the flames went wild. He grabbed Lin's hand and pulled her to run away as well. Several people were caught in the fire, screaming in pain and despair. He then saw the mysterious man trying to run away. He immediately told her that he would go after the arsonist. He sprinted fast and chased the mysterious man, who was surprised to see that someone was following him. Fang managed to catch up and asked who sent him. The man immediately ignited, engulfing his whole body in fire. He backed away upon seeing this. He was in utter disbelief that they would rather end their lives than surrender. He began wondering what kind of existence this demon church was. Lin said he was just a puppet, and the real culprit must be hiding somewhere else. They also had an ominous hunch that there was more than one puppet like him. The firefighters responded, putting down the fire and assisting the victims. Some bystanders even seemed to be enjoying this tragedy, prompting an officer to scold them and tell them to leave. Fang was grateful that the rescue team had arrived. He then told Lin that he would meet with Zugo to ask about this incident, requesting her to take a leave of absence for him. She agreed, wondering if he really wanted to investigate to the end. At the Hunter Union, silhouettes of hunters could be seen sparring with each other. It was Zugo and Fang. The old man complimented him. He then threw a punch, which the lad was able to dodge. He then warned him of an incoming right punch, then went in straight to his chest. Fang sat on the floor and admitted his defeat, while Zugo asked why he was so distracted. He then brought up the arson incident from the previous night. The old man revealed that the mastermind must be the Flame Demon. Hearing this, Fang was alarmed. He then asked for all the information about the Flame Demon, surprising the old man. He revealed that his parents were killed by the very same demon 5 years ago. Seeing how persistent he was, Zugo had no choice but to indulge him with the information. He revealed that the Flame Demon had fled abroad through the Devil's Church 5 years ago. He was back now, stronger and a lot more cunning than ever. However, Fang was resolved to find the demon and cut him into pieces. He declared that he would be tracking the demon and practicing on his own to advance to C rank. The old man looked at him with admiration, then waved his goodbye as he left. On the busy streets of the city, Fang found himself buying a weapon at a weapon shop. He was now well equipped with weapons and gear, fully prepared to take on the hard battle. He then saw the news of the rising arson incidents in the city recently. Several places had been hit by arson attacks, advising the citizens to be careful. Fang knew there was more than one arsonist, but seeing the streets still full of people, he was certain that these incidents would continue. He shook off those thoughts, thinking that his priority would be to grow stronger first. At the convenience store, he met his sister and asked what she was doing there. He then told her that he would not be going home for a while to practice. She told him to be careful, to which he assured her he would be fine. He then whipped out a newly bought phone as a gift for her. He waved goodbye while she expressed her gratitude. She watched him leave with happy eyes, hoping he would get stronger and achieve his goals soon. Fang found himself wandering around the suburb of an abandoned town. He gripped his sword, preparing to face the higher-level demons in the place. The wind eerily blew, carrying the fresh scent of blood. A spider demon appeared suddenly out of nowhere. It leaped, planning to attack him sneakily from behind. However, Fang was alerted to its presence. He dodged its attack, backing away from the enraged demon. Suddenly, a shuriken came speeding toward him. He was alarmed upon seeing this and raised his sword to block it. It was a second demon, a monkey-looking monster. He was now standing in front of the face spider and the Nightwalker at the same time, but instead of getting discouraged, he was actually thrilled. The Nightwalker wore a vicious expression at the sight of its prey. It immediately threw its shurikens, which spun at dangerously high speeds as they approached Fang. He flawlessly blocked them with his sword, figuring out that none of this was an illusion. The face spider jumped over him, shattering the ground as it landed. While he backed away, the monkey demon was preparing a sneak attack, alarming him of its presence. The demon managed to shatter his sword, prompting him to opt into using his demon slayer's powers. He began exuding crimson energy as he faced the demons. He partially turned into his demon form, smirking as he prepared to unleash his thorn ability. He smashed the ground, summoning countless spikes directed at the enemy. With a fierce look in his eyes, he dashed forward with his hand blade. The monkey demon angrily raised its shurikens, then hurled them down towards Fang. He blocked them with his hand blade, smirking as he looked at the enemy. He hurled back the shurikens, cutting both the monkey demon and the spider demon. He seemed to be enjoying his killing spree. He activated his tentacle ability, imprisoning the demons within the tight grasps of his tentacles. He then mercilessly slammed them to the ground, giving them a hard time breathing. The spider demon was enraged and spat out a large amount of black mucus. However, it was nothing but a stupid trick for him. The demons laughed, thinking they had imprisoned Fang within the black mucus. What they didn't expect was that he could break out of the entrapment with his hand blade, immediately dashing toward the spider demon. He slashed it to pieces, its carcass raining down as he faced the remaining enemy. Desperate to keep its life intact, the monkey demon turned to escape. However, Fang was unwilling to let it go and charged his spear. He threw it, piercing the monkey demon's back. As he killed it, he obtained its dart ability. Killing the spider demon also granted him its black mist ability and agility enhancement. Seeing that he had grown more agile, he smiled in delight. But his smiles were short-lived. Laughter was heard as mysterious silhouettes emerged from the smoke. Mysterious hooded men recognized that Fang was the demon lord, threatening him with their weapons. Now that his identity had been exposed, he could only get rid of these bandits to protect his secret. He faced them, daring them to come if they wanted to covet his prey. The bandits verbally retaliated and threatened him. Suddenly, another mysterious figure emerged from the smoke. It was a demon riding a motorcycle and wielding a sword. The daredevil leaped over the frightened bandits, slashing them into tiny bits mercilessly. Their minced meat rained down in front of the disturbed Fang. The daredevil laughed while Fang remained on guard after seeing its strength. The demon proceeded to mock the demon slayer for merging with a human teenager. He was alarmed, asking who the demon was and how it knew about the demon slayer. The demon only replied that Fang had no idea how strong it once was. He revealed that the demon slayer was once the strongest demon. With this, he guessed that it had come to take his power, to which the demon laughed as it confirmed it. He activated his dart ability, unwilling to surrender his power. The daredevil mocked the fact that he was just a D-class, too weak to protect his power. He drove his motorcycle towards Fang, unleashing a devastating sword slash. As Fang evaded, the daredevil commended his reaction speed and attacked once again. He was struggling as he blocked it. The attack was powerful enough to send him a few feet backward. Detecting that the demon was a C rank, he began activating his complete form. He planted his foot firmly on the ground, then hurled his massive shuriken towards the enemy. The daredevil caught it effortlessly, spinning it with his sword as he called his weapon acrobatic props. He returned the attack, to which Fang unleashed his tentacles in an attempt to receive the shuriken. He successfully caught it, spun it above his head, and then threw it back. The demon did not expect it and was surprised. The spinning shuriken hit it in the face, successfully putting a minor wound on it. This was the time it decided to take this battle seriously. Fang was alarmed. The daredevil quickly dashed forward and slashed him. He couldn't even react. It was a fast slash that immediately ripped open his body. He was bleeding heavily, prompting his demon slayer power to temporarily unleash his body's full potential. The daredevil continued berating Fang as he wounded him. However, the demon slayer power within him was rampaging, gradually transforming his body into something far more powerful, unleashing its true, glorious form. The daredevil couldn't believe that his power levels were rising as he transformed. There was nothing in his mind but the drowning voices that urged him to kill. But even though he was becoming a total demon, his will and mentality remained strong enough to resist corruption. He shut up the voices in his head as he charged forward with a vicious grin. Their battle continued, with Fang seemingly enjoying the feeling of slaughtering his enemy. That evil grin on his face just wouldn't fade. He unleashed a powerful horizontal cut against the daredevil, separating it from its beloved motorcycle. But the demon stood up, enraged, finding what he did unforgivable. However, the fight had just begun for Fang. They once again went at it, exchanging slashes. The daredevil seemed to be referring to itself as a knight, asking if Fang was worthy of fighting it. They crossed their swords. Suddenly, he started exerting more power. The daredevil felt it. It was surprised it was actually being pushed back in terms of strength. He smiled, fusing his tentacle and thorn abilities. The daredevil was then caught, entangled in his tentacles. It tried to break free, but Fang wouldn't let it do as it pleased. However, the demon still had a trick up its sleeve. It activated its chariot ability, manipulating the motorcycle from behind him. The motorcycle drove by itself, leaping over them as it left a trail of dust behind. This gave it the opportunity to break free from the tentacles, but it was a little early for it to celebrate. Fang activated his black mist and entrapped the daredevil. It commanded its motorcycle as if it were a horse, asking it to protect it. Fang activated his agility enhancement, instantly evading the motorcycle that was dragging towards him. The conclusion of the battle now all relied on his one move. The daredevil's eyes dilated. It was instantly cut up by his handblade. It was so fast that it couldn't even react. The daredevil looked back, muttering its final words. It then dropped to its knees and fell forward as Fang stood victorious. It desperately tried to reach for its sword, closing its eyes as it requested for him to end its suffering. Fang offered it a quick death in exchange for information about the Inferno, surprising the daredevil. Fang asked if it had heard of the Inferno, to which it replied it knew. It revealed that Inferno was an elite cultivated by the Devil's Church. Fang was surprised to learn that there were differences in C rank. It then revealed that Inferno was in the upper tiers of C rank, and it would be really hard to defeat him. Hearing these weak words, he couldn't help but laugh and call it a loser. He told the demon how he was weak back then, being subject to constant bullying. Through practice and hard work, he was able to grow stronger. Now that he had the power, he was determined to kill Inferno. The daredevil's jaw dropped at his ambitious declaration, then closed its eyes and asked him to kill its worthless self. However, he refused to do so, as killing a loser would only make his hands dirty. Hearing those words, it began its final act. It told him that it was offering a gift, surprising Fang. It said that it was willing to burn its last bit of life force and leave its power to him. It disintegrated into crimson waves of energy that accumulated into a ball. As it gradually lost its physical form, it asked Fang to let it witness his journey to becoming strong. Its transformation was almost complete. It became a demonic sword, boasting its majestic and glorious weapon form. He extended his hands towards it, grabbing its hilt. He gradually reverted to his human form as he held the sword. He felt the sensation of being one with the sword as he held it. Suddenly a voice was heard, commending him for brainwashing the demon and getting a free weapon. To his surprise, it was the demon slayer, finally speaking for itself. A crimson smoke came out of his chest, surprising him. The smoke eventually formed a body, as well as a pair of demonic wings. It was the demon slayer, demanding he kneel down and worship it. Fang then bluntly asked if it was a pet form of the demon slayer. Hearing his crude words, it snapped and angrily scolded him. He then asked if it was the true form of the demon slayer, to which it gave a vague confirmation. It clarified that it was just a soul body. However, it could regain its physical body soon if Fang would continue killing demons. He fell silent, assessing the situation and contemplating the implications of his choices. He then agreed to cooperate, asking for the demon slayer's help to kill Inferno. The demon slayer smiled. It wasn't content with just taking down a minion and suggested they overthrow the whole demon church. He remarked that it seemed excited, asking if it had a grudge against them. The demon slayer revealed it wasn't as trivial as a mere grudge. It had an irreconcilable hatred for them. It further explained that it was the Pope of the demon church who had ambushed and killed it. It knew that both the demon realm and the human world would never be under its rule if only it was at its peak. Fang asked, "Who exactly is the so-called Pope of the demon church?" The demon slayer only said that the church was the instigator of many conspiracy theories. It then proposed a deal: kill the Inferno demon in exchange for overthrowing the demon church. Upon hearing this ambitious request, he was surprised. The demon slayer provocatively asked if he was scared, but Fang said there was nothing to be scared of. The demon slayer was delighted to hear this and praised him. However, it seemed skeptical of his abilities because of the way it looked right now. The demon slayer noticed this and, angered, asked if he was doubting it. He said that was not the case and gripped his sword, suggesting that they continue fighting the demons around. Suddenly, the daredevil's motorcycle approached him. The demon slayer said that the magically enhanced motorcycle wanted to recognize Fang as its owner. Without any second thoughts, he rode the motorcycle. He looked forward, fascinated that he was riding a vehicle fueled by energy instead of gasoline. He remarked that it felt so good to ride it, storming off the ghostly streets of the abandoned town. From the corners of the town's ruined buildings were several ghouls watching him that couldn't help but salivate at the sight of a human. They wasted no time and immediately charged forward. Fang saw this and raised his sword. He held it, unleashing a powerful crimson cutting energy that took down the ghouls in an instant. He continued driving as he mercilessly slashed his way through. The demon slayer said that the harvest was decent, as he could use these ghouls to enhance his agility attribute. He smiled, interested in the fact that it was recording data. Fang then proposed that they set a small goal of cleaning up the whole abandoned town. 4 days later, Lin was growing worried about Fang. After all, he hadn't returned to school yet, and his phone had been off the whole time. She sighed, hoping that he hadn't recklessly gone alone to seek revenge on Inferno. Meanwhile, a motorcycle could be seen traversing the streets of Dong City. Its driving was put to a halt, revealing a man carrying a lot of items on his back. It was Fang, with his newfound confidence and charisma. He smiled, thinking of taking revenge against the Flame Demon. At the Hunters' Union, Xiao couldn't believe that Fang had brought back so many bounties. She couldn't even begin to imagine how strong he was. Zugo also noticed the corpse of the daredevil and remarked on his increased strength. He dismissed it as luck that he had encountered the wounded demon. He changed the topic and asked if he knew of Inferno's whereabouts. The old man revealed that the demon had no activities yet, but its subordinates had been active recently. Fang asked about the restrictions on outdoor gatherings in Dong City. However, the people had resisted it, and a band named Black Sun had even held a concert. Seeing as how they had intentionally held a concert at such a dangerous time, they thought that it was highly suspicious. Getting a grasp of the situation, Fang thought that he had to sneak into the concert and investigate. Xiao finally settled his bounty rewards, amounting to a total of 120 million yuan. He was surprised upon hearing the amount, to which she said that the C-class demon alone was worth 100 million. He thought that they were fine getting rich, while the demon slayer annoyingly looked at him. It was nighttime. Lots of fans gathered at the Black Sun VIP bar. A familiar motorcycle stopped by. It was Fang, planning to sneak into the concert. He worriedly turned to the demon slayer, who assured him that no one could detect it except Fang. He looked at the entrance as the fans gathered. The host announced that the concert was about to begin, earning cheers from the fans. Among them was an imposter. Fang blended himself among the crowd to sneak in. Inside the bar was the beating of drums, roaring electric guitars, and vocals that sang inspirational lyrics. All these elements combined into an impeccable harmony, touching the hearts of its listeners. However, Fang found rock music noisy, while the demon slayer enjoyed it. Amidst the cheering fans, he found a familiar face, the deputy leader from earlier. It seemed like he was also investigating the arson incidents. The band went on with their performance, providing entertainment to their fans. The vocalist then asked if everyone would join him if he offered his life to the Great Flame. This statement alarmed both the deputy leader and Fang. Meanwhile, everyone seemed to have been brainwashed as they all hailed the flame. The vocalist wore a villainous grin, then summoned a demonic eye over everyone. The demon slayer recognized it as a demonic sacrificial ritual circle. It finally started. The sacrificial ritual circle looked like a demonic eye looking down over everyone as they listened to the concert. They called to their lord, Inferno, worshipping him. The fans noticed something was wrong, causing them to panic and run away. Amidst the chaotic crowd, Fang stayed still. He noticed the deputy leader doing the same, speechless as he let the situation unfold. Fang looked around, planning to exploit the chaos to hide himself and transform. Under the sacrificial ritual circle, the Black Sun band members emitted flames from their bodies. They were delighted as they sang worship for Inferno and the demon cult. Inferno finally emerged, grinning venomously. The deputy leader looked at him with cold eyes. His waiting wasn't in vain. The flame demon exuded an air of dominance as he walked confidently, delighted at the sight of so many people to be offered as a sacrifice. He then noticed the deputy leader and questioned his identity. The demonic Black Sun band immediately charged forward to attack him. The deputy leader activated his skill, summoning 2 humongous skeletal hands to block their way. These skeleton hands balled into fists, shattering the ground as they attacked. But the loyal cultists of the demon church continued pushing forward, planning to gang up on him. But the deputy leader wouldn't go down without a fight, preparing his skills. The skeletal hands surrounded him in a protective manner. Upon seeing this, Inferno couldn't help but commend his skills. Suddenly, Fang, in his demon slayer form, emerged from behind, attempting a sneak attack, but it didn't work. The flame demon noticed him. He immediately attacked Fang with his fire, but the tenacious demon slayer was completely unscathed. He charged forward and unleashed a chain of merciless slashes. The flame demon thought that he was a demon of the same race. He raised his fist, planning to kill him in one go. As he threw his fist, an obliterating pillar of flames followed, which Fang barely evaded. A massive explosion ensued, but Fang once again emerged unscathed. His face was serious. The flame demon's abilities were nothing to scoff at. As the flame demon hovered in the air, he found something amusing. He sensed the aura of the demon slayer in him. Fang immediately cut him off and lunged forward to attack. It was an intense fight, both of them wearing fierce expressions as they faced each other. Their battle resumed, shattering the ground below them as they exchanged blows. From behind, the deputy leader was fighting with the cultists. As he gave them a beating, he noticed Fang in his demon form, whom everyone knew as the Demon Lord. He was surprised, wondering what grudge he might have against the flame demon. Fang unleashed sharp crimson cutting energies aimed to take down Inferno, but the flame demon was so confident that he didn't need to dodge. He grinned as he shattered the energy blade with his bare fists, surprising Fang. Inferno charged forward with a malicious smile, aiming to display his powers. His fiery fist managed to connect, landing on his body. The flame demon slammed him down to the ground. The deputy leader noticed it and turned to look. Suddenly, an immense surge of energy shook the atmosphere. It was from the flame demon, lifting him by the neck. He then threw him away as if he were nothing but a piece of pebble. The demon slayer struggled to get up, thinking about the flame demon's seemingly endless power reserves. Inferno was all fiery and ferocious, mocking Fang and calling him a disgrace to demons. He threw a punch, which he managed to barely evade. He then backed away a significant distance. The flame demon lifted a ruined car, then threw it in his direction. Fang summoned his crimson tentacles in response, catching the car mid-air. He gripped it and threw it back. Before the flame demon could even respond, he was hit in the face. Fang continued flailing the car, gripped by his tentacles. The flame demon coughed, surprised that he still had some tricks up his sleeve. As they stopped to face each other, Fang unleashed a powerful crimson aura as he asked about the arson incident from 5 years ago. However, the flame demon seemed not to remember, as it was something insignificant for him. Fang was enraged, gripping his sword tightly. He charged forward with the resolve to kill the flame demon. They once again engaged in a ferocious battle. Inferno remarked that his sword carried nothing but hatred. It had no technique. But Fang was too blinded by his rage and went on with his reckless attacks. The flame demon told him that hatred only dulls one's spirit and weakens their will. Fang groaned, only to find himself lying on the ground with a hole in his chest. The flame demon sarcastically asked why he had fallen, while Fang was gradually losing hope about his chances for victory. Suddenly, the demon slayer's soul appeared before him, calling him pathetic. Fang weakly asked if it had come to mock him. Surprisingly, it began giving him words of wisdom. He was surprised upon hearing this little pep talk. Those words from the demon slayer made him remember the reason he was fighting, reigniting his will as he clenched his fists. The demon slayer told him to fight for himself, with nothing in mind but the pure desire to kill the enemy. Fang was surprised to hear these words, while the demon slayer immediately buried itself deep within his chest. He was speechless and couldn't even retaliate as its soul seeped through him. His crimson energy immediately powered up. He was exuding an immense amount of aura in front of the flame demon, who was baffled by what was happening. His eyes were that of someone who had snapped the last thread of their sanity. He was gradually entering his berserk state, roaring as he unlocked his new demon slayer form. Fang unleashed his new form, boasting a majestic figure as he roared. Inferno was in utter disbelief. He was fatally injured, yet he still managed to evolve and get stronger. He was growing scared as he was reminded of the demon slayer. Fang lowered his head and crouched, accumulating kinetic energy. He then kicked off the ground to attack, confident in his doubled explosive power. The flame demon couldn't react at all. An obliterating fist connected to its face and sent it flying. He prepared his sharp claws, then gripped the flame demon by its neck. He slammed it down, shattering the ground below them. Inferno almost lost consciousness. The whole place was in total ruins. Inferno was fuming mad as he glared at him. He couldn't bear being looked down on and ignited his fierce flames. As his body was engulfed in flames, he managed to break free from his grasp. He balled his flaming hands into a fist, introducing his true form. With flames fully unleashed, he prepared to take off and attack. But for Fang, it was nothing more than an ordinary fire. He did not hesitate, exchanging blows with him, confident that his armored form wouldn't get burned. Fang struck him down, cutting off the flame demon's right arm. It backed away, saying it was absolutely unforgivable. It managed to regrow its arm instantly, but Fang immediately took this chance to attack. He threw his fist, piercing the flame demon's chest, but it wasn't enough to destroy its morale. It continued fighting back. Their clash resulted in the further destruction of the place. The flame demon threw a burst of flame against Fang, which he brushed off like it was nothing. It had no time to be surprised, as his fist almost reached its face. Inferno was sent flying backward while the enraged demon slayer asked why it had done the arson incident 5 years ago. It struggled to get up as it revealed that it was just following the orders of the Pope. Fang pointed his sword against its neck, clarifying if it was the Pope of the demonic church. The flame demon confirmed it and suggested for the demon slayer to let it go. But the vengeful Fang was unwilling to do so. Enraged as he recalled his deceased parents, he raised his sword, bearing hatred and extreme malice. The flame demon was about to desperately beg for its life, but its words were put to a halt by Fang's quick downward slash. Fang's downward sword slash separated the flame demon's head from its body. But Inferno knew that as long as its fire was not extinguished, it could always reshape its body and revive. It immediately took off, leaving behind its body. Fang ordered the Red Falcon to kill it. The motorcycle drove on its own, intercepting the fleeing flame. Its wheels threw spikes. It then attacked the flame, grinding it to death. The very last of its embers were left, pathetically trying to buy its way out of inevitable death. But its excuses didn't work. He was determined to destroy both the Pope and the demon church. He delivered the final blow, granting him the ability that the flame demon once possessed. Flames. He grew stronger once again. He then rode his motorcycle thinking that he must leave as soon as possible to avoid further trouble. He wasted no time and immediately took off. Meanwhile, the deputy leader was still dealing with the Black Sun cultists. He managed to finally take them down. He looked at the massive crack in the wall, wondering how those two demons were fighting. He then went out to check the scene, only to find that the battle was over already. Fang found himself driving in a dimly lit alley. He fell off the motorcycle, coughing as his demon form began to break down. He slumped his back on a ruined wall, sighing with relief that the battle was finally over. The demon slayer asked if he was sure that he wanted to confront the Pope of the demon church. With eyes reflecting that his vengeance was far from over, he said that the Pope was the real culprit behind his parents' death. Hearing his words, the demon slayer was delighted and promised to help him become stronger. 40 minutes later, after the battle, inspectors from the Hunter Union went to inspect the area. Two mysterious masked men from the demon church remarked on the death of Inferno. One of them began taking off his mask, claiming the task of sacrificing Dong City. He revealed his inhuman face, saying that he won't let the Pope down in this mission. He leaped in the air and began attacking the inspectors. His ability was related to manipulating people's shadows. He killed them, declaring the return of the shadow demon. The next morning, at the slums, Fang finally went home and greeted his sister. The worried sister turned back, exclaiming that he had finally come home. He apologized for not being able to answer her calls, as he was busy hunting demons. He then revealed that he had bought the nearest convenience store, offering her the key. His sister was surprised upon hearing this, then scolded him for not keeping the money for himself. But Fang said they would have more money with the convenience store they had just bought. She couldn't refute his words anymore and expressed how proud she was of him. She then revealed a white envelope, which turned out to be a letter from the Hunter Association addressed to him. They were happy to find out that he had finally become an officially certified hunter. Now that he had a certificate, he could face anything with confidence. At Dong's Academy, students were gathered for the graduation assessment. The examiners from the Hunter Association revealed that passing the exam would grant them a hunter certificate. Everyone was fired up upon hearing this. Meanwhile, Tien and his goons didn't let the chance of mocking Fang slide. He grinned, confident that his strength had now improved after his recent training. Lin chimed in, saying he will definitely participate in the graduation assessment. Fang indeed came, exuding his newfound confidence as he walked. Lin came to greet him, as she hadn't seen him for quite a while. He then revealed that he had come to withdraw from the assessment. Tien chimed in and mocked his withdrawal. His goons added fuel to the fire, poking at his withdrawal. He then revealed that the assessment was worthless to him now that he had already obtained a hunter certificate. Lin was surprised. He was progressing too fast. However, Tien and his dogs didn't believe it. The examiners from the Hunter Association stepped forward to verify his certificate, to which he immediately agreed. The examiner opened his certificate, only to be surprised by its contents. It was revealed that he was a C-rank hunter, appraised by none other than Vice President Zugo. Tien and his dogs couldn't believe what they had just heard. Lin seemed to be sulking that he hadn't told her about his progress. Suddenly, his classmates flocked over him, showering him with praises. He sighed, feeling awkward that those who had sneered at him before were now acting all kind. The examiner returned his certificate, then hinted at his interest in scouting him. Tien was fuming mad, jealous that he was the center of attention. Fang said that the offer was really tempting, but he still decided to refuse. He couldn't risk exposing his identity as the Demon Slayer. The examiner seemed dissatisfied that he had refused their offers. However, Lin knew that there must be a deeper reason behind Fang's refusal. The other examiner guessed that his abilities must have been acknowledged by Zugo and urged them to stop inviting him. The examiner gave up, turning back as they began organizing everyone for the assessment. Fang greeted them, bored of socializing. He'd rather deal with demons. Lin approached him and said she will now be taking the graduation exam. He bade her good luck and some words of affirmation as he bumped her fist. It was finally time. The assessment ended with some failures. However, there were also people who graduated with cool abilities. Tien was praised by his lackeys for getting a D-class elementary lightning ability. However, he wasn't happy that he was still weaker than Fang. Meanwhile, at the food court, Fang and Lin ate together to celebrate their graduation. As he looked at her, he couldn't help but admire her genius. Lin then revealed that she planned to work in an official department, like the demon hunting department. As for Fang, he planned to continue working alone as a full-time demon hunter. The demon slayer then came out and mocked him that his wife might catch him soon as a demon. He angrily swiped it away, leaving her confused. She asked why he was acting strange all of a sudden, to which he said he was fine. He then raised his glass and hoped for her to get admitted to an official department soon. She smiled in response and wished for him to become a top-notch hunter. Suddenly, the television flashed reports of shadow incidents in the southern area of Dongs. It was revealed that a large number of residents had turned into shadows. These shadow people were wreaking havoc by indiscriminately attacking anyone. Lin found it strange that there was a shadow incident following the arson incident recently. Fang knew that this was plotted by the Demon Church, prompting him to go out and investigate. At the abandoned ruins of South Dongs, a rabid shadow dog bared its fangs, only to get sliced by sharp crimson energies. Fang was casually taking a stroll around the place to investigate. He scanned the areas, guessing that there must be powerful demons hiding nearby. Little did he know, a massive shadow centipede was creeping up from behind him. It took a short while for him to detect its presence. The centipede unleashed an attack, which he managed to evade. Or so he thought. It turned out he was taking damage when his shadow got hit. Fang stood there, surprised by the presence of the enemy. It launched another attack, which he barely evaded. The demon slayer mocked him, saying he couldn't handle a simple move. He remarked that it was a good thing he had a self-healing ability to counter the enemy. Several shadow creatures then emerged behind him. It was a pincer attack. He was now completely surrounded. He gripped his sword, preparing for combat. He fiercely fought to take the shadow creatures down, mercilessly slashing away at them like a hot knife through butter. The shadow centipede launched its attacks, to which he activated his newly acquired flame ability in response. Crimson flames emerged from his hands. He threw it at the centipede's head, burning its humongous body. Suddenly, another giant shadow monster appeared out of nowhere. Fang was surprised. It seemed like he had been marked as a hunting target. The shadow monster opened its mouth, aiming to swallow him alive. He fought back and tried to resist, but he was still pushed back by the monster. He planted his foot firmly to the ground in an attempt to stop it. He couldn't help but think that this shadow centipede was indeed quite strong. From quite a distance behind, he heard a call for help. A massive wave of water-carrying shadow sharks was seen. These sharks were currently devouring humans. Already struggling with his current situation, he was even more alarmed by the appearance of the sharks. The sharks then joined the fray as he backed away. The demon slayer told him that finding the shadow demon's true form was the only way to kill it. The shadow waves were now coming back, together with the shadow creatures, aiming for his life. He partially activated his demon slayer form, planning to eliminate the sharks first. As the hungry sharks continued approaching, Fang fused his black mist and fire abilities, unleashing a massive explosion of fire mist. It was so powerful that he instantly obliterated the sharks with this attack. He looked forward, thinking about how he had gained a lot of demonic energy. However, the demon slayer told him that it was still too early to celebrate. As they looked up at the sky, a flock of shadow birds appeared. These birds were also noticed by the nearby hunters, as they all headed in one direction. From atop an abandoned, ruined building, the shadow birds gathered in a swirling manner. There stood the shadow demon with his birds, looking forward to enjoying the chaos he had incited. The shadow birds gathered near Fang, leading him to conclude that someone behind the scenes was targeting him. He used his magic sword to fend off the crows attacking him, but they just cawed as they continued charging forward. He deemed that swinging his sword was futile since the crows kept coming, prompting the demon slayer to suggest a bold idea. The demon slayer stretched its wings, then carried him as it sent him flying. Even against his will, Fang couldn't help but go on with the demon slayer's crazy idea. It brought him above the skies, together with the crows. Since he was already there, he had no other choice but to take the risk and proceed with the plan. He unleashed his crimson flames as he swung his sword against the murder of crows. These flames eventually grew to shield him against the shadow birds. The other hunters from below were mesmerized by the big ball of flame above. Eyeing a ruined building from the top, he finally found the source of this chaos. The shadow demon smiled, commending his skills as he had managed to find him. They wasted no time and immediately charged against each other. Fang seemed to be struggling, while the demon smiled as if it enjoyed the situation. The clashing of their weapons emitted a powerful shockwave that sent both of them away from each other. The shadow demon continued to commend him for being able to kill the flame demon. It added that having the ability to do so made him worthy to be its opponent. Fang retorted, saying that its loud mouth had nothing to do with fighting. The shadow demon unleashed a shadow-cutting energy, seemingly provoked by his taunts, as it swung its scythe against him. However, this move gave Fang a good opportunity to counterattack. He extended his hands, successfully stabbing the shadow demon in its chest. However, this attack didn't work. The demon revealed that shadows can't be killed and they can regenerate infinitely. He crouched to the ground, planning to finally take things seriously. He summoned several shadow monsters that immediately approached Fang, but to the young lad, these were nothing but petty tricks. He then launched his crimson flame as the shadow monsters charged forward. The flames were aimed against the shadow demon itself. A massive explosion ensued, engulfing the shadow demon in his crimson wrath. The explosion was so powerful that it shook the whole place. As the flames died down, Fang was wondering if the battle was over. However, the demon slayer revealed that it could sense the shadow demon's energy still gathering. Suddenly, laughter was heard from within the thick smoke. The shadow demon had survived the attack, coming back in its true demon form. At that, Fang sensed that its strength was now nearing B rank, prompting the demon slayer to suggest that he unleash their trump card. Fang was alarmed while the demon slayer burrowed into his chest, causing him immense pain as he began transforming. His next demon form boasted a tough outer skin, almost like armor, covering his body. His majestic figure stood, exuding an air of dominance as he flaunted his massive sword. He grabbed the hilt, his eyes locking their gaze upon the enemy that must be taken down. He raised his sword, revealing that his strength had now reached the perfect form at C rank. Fang unleashed his crimson aura, powerful enough to shatter the ground below him. The shadow demon remarked that his giant sword would only make him sluggish, but it was of no concern to Fang, who effortlessly lifted it. He struck down the shadow demon, who struggled to block. It was then sent flying by nothing but his brute strength. The shadow demon was in disbelief that he could move so fast, even with his heavy armor and sword. Fang kicked the ground, charging forward to attack the shadow demon. His big swings were accompanied by taunts, calling it a dog of the demon church. The shadow demon retorted, saying it was an official member of the demon church. But to Fang, both it and the flame demon were just pawns of the Pope. He unleashed a massive cutting energy toward the shadow demon, who told him to stop with the provocations as it retaliated. The shadow demon launched 2 purple rays against him, but he just brushed it off as mere pointless shadow tricks. The shadow was in disbelief that his attacks couldn't pierce through his tough armor. Fang launched a heavy downward swing against the opponent, whose face displayed visible struggles to block it. Fang was completely overpowering the shadow demon, even shattering the whole building they stood upon. As the building completely collapsed, the shadow demon was seen gradually losing. The demon slayer continued to push forward, pinning it to the ground as he commended its cockroach-like resilience. It then activated shadow shifting and managed to escape his grasp. However, activating such a skill had depleted a lot of its energy. It now prepared to activate its shadow arm, unleashing a massive purple aura that alarmed the demon slayer. The battle went on, with the shadow demon finally catching up with Fang's strength. The purple aura dominated the skies and summoned numerous shadow creatures. The creatures charged forward, screaming their loyalty to the shadow demon. They were aiming to join the fray as Fang stopped for a moment. He found himself surrounded by the shadow creatures. The shadow demon told him to bring it on. However, this situation turned out to be more favorable, as killing the shadow creatures replenished his energy. Knowing this, he mercilessly cut them down and feasted on their energy. He continued hacking and slashing, planning to kill as many as there were. The shadow demon itself couldn't make sense of why he didn't seem to get weaker. He was even complaining that there were still too few shadows for him to kill. The shadow demon figured out that he was absorbing the demonic aura by killing the shadow creatures. Knowing this, it activated the shadow self-destruct mode to counterattack. The shadow creatures bloated themselves up, approaching Fang as they prepared to blow themselves up. However, he wasn't willing to accept this gift and unleashed his tentacles. He grabbed the shadow bombs with them, then tossed them back to the shadow demon. These bombs exploded right in the enemy's face. The demon slayer gripped his sword and charged forward to deliver his execution, but the shadow demon wasn't willing to go down without a fight. However, its scythe wasn't able to block the demon slayer's sword, which pierced through and slashed it. With this, the shadow demon was finally slain, and he acquired the shadow clone ability. The sun began to rise upon the horizon, a poetic ending befitting the shadow's end. Before it fully perished, it stated that killing it was useless. It revealed that the demon church had already amassed a massive army by conquering nearby cities. However, the words of a dying man held no meaning to the demon slayer. With a simple sword slash, he quickly put an end to its suffering. The shadow demon disintegrated into thin air, leaving behind only its mask. Fang held it as he began reverting to his human form. The demon slayer then quickly urged him to try out his newly acquired clone ability, to which he immediately complied and unleashed an array of crimson energy. The energy burned and accumulated, eventually taking the shape of the basic demon slayer form. The demon slayer told him to try giving the clones some attack orders. Fang then ordered his clone to smash the ruined wall in front of them. Without hesitation, the clone immediately charged forward, shattering the walls into pieces. Seeing its strength being around a beginner C rank, it would definitely be helpful to him. The demon slayer reminded him he still needed to strengthen himself to face the incoming demons. But Fang wasn't nervous. The more demons there were, the more demonic ability he could plunder. 2 days later, important news was reported on national television. It was revealed that the demon church's army had occupied neighboring cities and was planning to conquer Dongs. In fact, they had already started wreaking havoc. Numerous demons were seen thrashing the city and killing civilians. The hunters finally arrived and fiercely defended the city from the demon attacks. At Fang's convenience store, located in the suburbs of Dongs, the siblings were watching the news about the demon army's invasion. Fang geared himself up, planning to step forward to gain more experience. His sister seemed worried and urged him to take a break for a while, but as long as the demon church existed, he could never rest easy. As the demons continued inciting chaos and killing humans, a crimson figure came sprinting, alarming the demons of its presence. The crimson figure unleashed its hand blades, mutilating the monsters in an instant. Some people recognized it as a demon king, though they wondered how it had become a red version. As the clash went on, a crimson motorcycle arrived at the scene. Riding on it was Fang, planning to infiltrate the enemy ranks as they were busy with his clone. The motorcycle revved. followed by a clean sword slash from Fang that dismembered the monsters in an instant. Truly, having the assistance of the clone made things convenient for him. Meanwhile, the Demon Slayer found it amusing. Fang gained the ability to summon a spearman. Fang wondered if he had become a necromancer, to which the Demon Slayer called him delusional. He closed his eyes, then immediately tried out this new skill. A summoning circle was conjured, summoning a demonic spearman. He wondered if he could only summon spearmen since he and his clone had killed quite a few swordsmen as well. The Demon Slayer confirmed, blushing as it said it just forgot to record it in the book. Strange markings appeared on his hands, making him smile as he began to comprehend more of these demonic runes. He raised his left hand and summoned all class types. Demons began pouring out of the summoning circle, a soldier, a mage, and a shield bearer. He now had 4 demon soldiers, enough to form a small team. He left the leading of this team to his clone, who possessed a part of his soul. From a distance, the army of enemy demons could be seen marching forward. Both of them smiled. It was now time to harvest. He immediately ordered the demon squad to charge forward, to which they immediately complied. As the fierce battle started, another demon appeared from above. It was one of the demon pope's dogs, ready to deliver retribution to those who went against the will of the demon church. It raised its axe, aiming to mangle Fang. The demon launched a powerful attack, but the young lad evaded it calmly. He proceeded to taunt the demon, while the Demon Slayer told him to take out both the demon and its mount. The demon did not like it, while Fang ordered the Red Falcon to attack. The motorcycle drove by itself, sneaking behind the demon. The demon was surprised upon seeing this. The motorcycle then attacked them, which they were barely able to evade. The demon flinched. Even the exhaust of the motorcycle had demonic energy. Fang commended his motorcycle as he grabbed it for a ride. He smiled, continuing with his provocations. The demon was in disbelief that the motorcycle's speed was on par with its eye-demon flying beast. The demon flew over him while he just continued revving the engine. He then saw several more troops as he went on driving. He then infused his demonic energy into the Red Falcon to enhance its attack power. The motorcycle roared, almost flying as they went into overdrive. They were so fast, leaving nothing in their trail but dust and debris. He led them into the city buildings to restrain the enemy's flying ability. As the demon followed Fang, it figured out that he had purposely led it there to set up an ambush behind the buildings. Knowing this, it planned to destroy the whole place to blow off all possible covers. It spun its weapon, emitting an intense barrage of lightning to destroy the buildings. It laughed, satisfied as it gazed upon the destruction it had caused. Suddenly, tentacles emerged from the rubble, surprising it. It couldn't make sense of it. Where did all these tentacles come from? The demon found itself surrounded by Fang's tentacles. Another one came rushing toward it, gripping it tightly. Several more tentacles began holding it down, as well as its mount. A massive explosion ensued as the tentacles slammed them to the ground. The demon was having a hard time breaking free. Frustrated, it demanded for him to come out and fight him one-on-one. Fang came rushing as he rode his motorcycle, leaping in the air and approaching the tied-down demon. With a fierce look on his face, he raised his sword. The demon's eyes dilated, alarmed. A heavy downward sword slash was launched against it, shattering the ground below. The demon yelled, fearing that it was going to get chopped in half. The sword pierced its body, prompting it to commit self-destruction. An immense amount of demonic energy accumulated in the demon's body, followed by a massive explosion that shook the whole place. Dust, debris, and smoke from the explosion covered everything. As these began to settle, a massive amount of crimson energy could be seen in the center of the crater. Fortunately, Fang was able to activate his thorn ability at the last moment to shield himself. He looked at the remains of the demon, who had already died from self-destruction. Or so he thought. He was alarmed by the green demonic energy that began to accumulate. He couldn't believe what was happening. It turned out the demon possessed an undead zombie constitution. Fang mercilessly slashed it to pieces, but it was useless against the demon's insane regeneration. It revealed that it had also absorbed the tentacle ability during the self-destruction. This was definitely not good news for him. The demon threatened to kill him using his own abilities, to which Fang responded by immediately unleashing his tentacles. He managed to hold it down, noticing that the demon was still not very familiar with the tentacle ability. The demon was surprised, struggling to break free. It knew that its body had indeed slowed down after reintegration. The demon retaliated, confident that it was immortal and could always reshape its body. However, Fang knew that its ability to physically regenerate was weak against fire. He set it on fire. Its massive body was engulfed by his raging flames. The demon could only let out screams of desperation while it was being reduced to nothing but ashes. Fang stood triumphantly as he managed to kill the demon, allowing him to plunder its physical regeneration ability. He was a bit skeptical, to which the Demon Slayer suggested they could test it by cutting off his hands. He refused and urged that they continue exploring the city. At the other parts of the chaotic city, hunters could be seen still struggling against the demons. A silhouette was then noticed emerging from the smoke, the spitting image of a mysterious knight riding a humongous wolf. He then swung his scythe to clear his way. He felt that the aura of the necromancer had completely dissipated, leading him to conclude that it must have died. An enemy capable of killing the necromancer must be at least at peak C rank.